Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to learn how to make this blazer, and guys, at the time of editing this video I wasn't done with mine. The video on the left clip was the first time I was fitting this jacket, so I wasn't done with the sleeves and every other part. So this video is going to show you how to cut this blazer. You're going to learn so much in this video. You already know how much I take my time to explain things, so you really don't want to go anywhere. In case you're new to this channel, my name is Ini. You're welcome. I'm a fashion designer and I'm very passionate about helping others with your sewing journey. I upload almost every day on this channel, so please subscribe, turn on your notification bell so that you're the first to know when I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for your love on the previous post. I'm so grateful. Without saying too much, we are just going to go right into this tutorial. So with me right here on the table, I have my basic bodice pattern on this table. In case you do not know how to draft a basic bodice pattern, I'm going to be linking that in the description box, or I'm going to be inserting a card above towards the right hand side. So these are my basic lines. I'm just going to rush through it, and in my previous video I made so much emphasis on this. If you've watched that video, you definitely understand what I'm doing here. These are the vertical lines across my body, shoulder to bust, shoulder to waist, shoulder to hip, and of course the full length. I said you should add 5 inches to the hip length. Then I added about 2.5 inches for the hemming allowance. So with me here I have my exact round measurements divided by 4, starting from that line you can see there, and I have my waist measurement divided by 4 as well. I have all the measurements intact. I also have the round neck, which I gave the formula in the previous video I uploaded some days ago. I also took my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 7.5 inches, and then I added half of an inch because there's going to be a sleeve attached to this blazer. So the next thing I did here was that I took my bust band measurement divided by 2. My bust band is about 7.5 inches. I divided by 2, then I added half of an inch because I don't want to add to any my fabric when I'm cutting. But in case you want to use the exact nipple to nipple, please make sure you add half of an inch when you are cutting. On the waistline, I came here and I took 0.75 inches. I made emphasis on this in my previous video and why we have to take only 0.75 inches. There's so much you can learn from that video. If you have time, you can watch it if you're here to do that. So now from the bust line, I came down by just 1 inch, and then I'm going to connect all of that. And of course, for the bottom part, I'm going to go up by 3 inches from the full length. Do not mistake the full length for the allowance length. Take the measurement from the full length, okay? After which I just connected everything together. So when you're done, just make sure you just blend the dart point so that no part is looking sharp. The next thing I did on the armhole is that I added half of an inch to my original armhole. So I used normally 7.5 inches from my shoulder slant, but here I added half of an inch to make it a little bit freer. Once you've connected the dart at the waist point, you just want to get the mid armhole, and then you're going to connect this dart out. So make sure you're using a curved ruler, or if you are able to use your free hand, then that's fine, but it's just better to use a ruler so that everything looks neat and is precise. Once that is done, you just want to make sure you are blending in everything and everything looks smooth. And of course, this part is very important, and I emphasized in the previous video that whenever you're cutting out at the armhole, you want to make sure you are extending the armhole so that by the time you're done joining, you're not going to have any shortage. I extended by 1 inch, and I'm going to connect it back to the bust point. Another thing to take note of is when you're making jackets, you want to make sure you're adding 3 inches to your original round bust and round hip. So my round bust normally is about 34 to 35 inches, but I made use of 37 inches. So do this, and then you're going to connect the armhole back to that point. So for the waist, I told you, you can take out 1 inch. This means if my waist is 28, I'm taking out just 1 inch, and now I'm going to be marking 0.25. Don't forget we have this on the fold, and we're going to have another piece for the back. So 0.25 times 4 is going to give us that 1 inch we're planning to take out. I really hope you understand what I'm doing. I did not say you should come to this point now and go in by 1 inch. If you do that, that means you're taking 4 inches out of your waist. Please do not try that. And of course, at the hip point, I'm just going to extend it and make it wider a bit by about 0.75, which when I multiply, that will be me extending it by 3 inches. I really hope you understand. If you don't understand, watch this video again. I know you're going to catch up. So at the full length area as well, I'm just going to open it up. Maybe you can make that one 1 inch so that it is bigger, like so that it opens up very well. Okay, so once all that is achieved, just go ahead and connect all the points together, and don't forget that this is not the sewing allowance. So by the time I was done connecting, I was just trying to clean off the other lines so that you're not confused. So once you're done with the ease, adding ease to the body of the blazer and modifying the waist, just come back to the waist point and replace the dart only on the waist. The dart is going to be replaced only on the waist. So once you're done, you can now go ahead and add sewing allowance to this pattern. So at the bust point, you can add up to 3 inches. At the waist point, you can add 2.5. And then at the hip point, you can also add 3 inches. Go ahead and connect everything together before we go ahead to create the overlap you saw at the front of the blazer. So of course, before you start drafting, you need to take note of the fact that you'd have created a space before the main bodice. In my previous video, I explained this in details. You can make use of the person's bust span divided by 2 plus 2 inches. In my case, I'm making use of 3.5 inches bust span. So this space here before the bodice pattern is up to about 5 inches. If you looked at that picture properly, you see that it's a regular round neck that extended to the overlap. So I'm just going to make use of the bust span measurement again, once again, 3.5 inches. So there's a reason why you should not make this more than the person's bust span, because you don't want the design going above this area. I'll add a clip to make you understand what this means. So anything you do outside the body, the center of the dress, is what's going to go around on the other part. So if you look at that picture, you notice that it did not go past the bust span line. That's the nipple point. So that's the reason why you should use this amount as your guide. The person's nipple to nipple divided by 2 should be your guide. After which, I'm just going to connect this neckline to extend to that part. It's really so simple. So what you need to do now is to know that the design I was working with is not the one that is straight. I wanted it to have a little bit of slant, so I just customized this to suit my preference. It depends on what you'd like to see, trust me. There's no one size fits all. So what I did here was to simply extend this by a little bit. Then I started going inwards by about 1 inch to 0.75. Then I now made the slant. So do this anyhow you'd want yours to look. What really matters is for you to understand that anything you do outside the center of the body, that's how it's going to look when you're done sewing it. Okay, so after I was done doing all these things, I adjusted it to suit my preference. At some point, I even went inwards again until it looked okay and it looked like what I wanted to have on my dress. So if you look at that first mark I made for the nipple to nipple, you understand I extended again by 1 inch, and then instead of extending the bottom part, I was going inward more. So this should tell you that the more I was going inside, the more it was becoming slant on the body. And that's why you see it on my body as if one part is extended and then the other part is going slant, like it slants towards the mid body. I really hope you understand this. The more you practice, the more you're going to understand these things. Okay, can you see that at some point I even went inwards more again? So this was because of what I wanted. Don't forget that the midline still remains. Can you see that point? That the midline is still there. I just wanted the upper part to extend more compared to the bottom overlap. So now I connected the armhole. One thing you need to notice about this armhole connection is that you're not connecting it to your allowance. You're connecting it to the exact body measurement. If you connect to your allowance, you're just going to add excessive allowance. That's not what you're supposed to do. Connect it back to the body. That's that place where you added 0.75 for ease. So with all this done, the front pattern is very ready. Is it not easy? Like, it's so easy, trust me. So I just took the papers and I connected them side by side, added a new pattern paper so that I can draft the back pattern with a continuous drafting method. I've explained how to do this so many times, but for the sake of the newcomers, this is how you do the continuous drafting. You simply take your measurements, that you transfer all the lines, because you don't want to be joining your front and back and then the armhole, one part is higher or the lower, the back is higher than the front. So extend all the lines to the back, then take the biggest measurements. Don't forget, this measurement you're taking is not going to include the overlap measurement. So mark it there, and then at the end of this paper, you're just going to take note of how many inches is left, and then you're going to mark that, the amount you got, across this paper and rule a straight line. That's going to serve as the mid back. So any measurement you're going to take is going to start from that line going backwards. So the neckline is going to be taken from that part towards this area. And now once you're done doing that, you're just going to draft your basic back pattern as well, and then you're going to transfer all the dimensions you have on each line to this part. This thing is very important because when you're joining front and back, you don't want the front to have a different shape from the back. These things will save you stress when you are sewing. I have a video that showed in details how to join clothes, how to avoid stress, like making clothes that do not have accurate measurements, like, you know, avoid fittings. There is an easy way to take measurements, and you should watch that video and you're going to learn. Okay, I'll drop the video or I'll put in a card at the right hand of the screen. When you're transferring your measurements, please do not take measurements from the overlap. You're taking from the center of the body, because at the back you do not have this overlap. So see what we have there now on the chest line. We're just going to transfer it to the back. We're going to transfer that of the waist, and we're also going to transfer that of the hip. So by the time you transfer the full length on and you make the connection, you're going to see how both the front and the back will align at that point. At the back as well, you're going to create the darts. You have the same darts at the front, at the back, just that there's a little bit of an adjustment, and the way we're going to blend the darts coming from the armhole. Please, I'm not going to dwell on this. If you want to understand this, you have to watch the previous video, because this video was becoming too long. I didn't want this video to be too long. So after doing that, you're just going to come to the waist as well. Okay, one thing I said is that from the chest line, you go down by 3 inches. For the back pattern, 3 inches from the chest line is where you connect your darts from. 3 inches from the chest line. Then you connect the darts. Okay, at the waist point, you just come to the waist, go up by 1.5 inches, and then you go in by 0.75 inches. Then you connect it to the neckline, then you connect it down to the full length. This is going to contour your back. I'm going to put the clip so you understand what I mean. In the previous video, when I was saying these things, you know, I did it on a miniature dress form, so maybe some people might have had doubts. At least here you can see that I did it on my own outfit, and the outcome is amazing. Please guys, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're here to watch the previous video where I made the explanations on the back darts, you really need to watch it, because it might spoil your outfit if you ignore that little alteration. So you need to watch that video. So please, at the contoured area, just add 0.75, because this is what you're going to use to join the back mid pieces. You're just going to blend the neckline to get to that 0.75 inches you just added for the seam allowance. I forgot to mention that, please, the back neckline is just 1 inch depth. Of course, the width is going to be the same as the front, but the depth is not as deep as the back. I'm sorry, the depth is not as deep as the front. At the front, I used 2.5, but at the back, I'm using 1 inch as the depth. I hope I did not confuse you. So guys, this video is gradually coming to an end, and I would really appreciate if you give this video a thumbs up. I don't know if I can upload the sewing tutorial of this blazer, because I was in a very serious rush while making this outfit, but I know you learned one thing or two. Please follow me on Instagram, make a request for a tutorial, and I'll be so grateful. Like, I'll feel like, drop a comment and I'll know that real human beings are watching my videos. Thank you so much to my new subscribers. I'm so grateful. I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. See you all later. Bye.